There are many people who want to start their own businesses. They've got wonderful ideas, but draw a blank when it comes to deciding what business they want to start, how to acquire capital, and get access to ready markets.
I found out that I wasn't the bank type. That's one. And then a friend of mine, who is now a very close friend, was like, oh, you can do all of this. Then let's try something. Let's do something. Let's start something. I was like, okay, so gradually, and I'm up with it again.
The Joy Business Van gives the small businesses the exposure they need by telling their stories and inspiring others to start something too.
Okay.
But what really interests me is why a graduate decides to enter into this. Like you mentioned, you're in the corporate world. I'm sure you're being paid at the end of every month, but you decide to abandon all of that to do this.
I'd always wanted to do something on my own as a little girl because I saw my parents doing something on their own, yes, and to give other people opportunity to also work or create job avenue for other people.
The Joy Business Van does so by connecting you to that young lady who is manufacturing and bottling local drinks, the young pharmacy assistant who follows his passion for shoes, and the IT professional who wants to make it big like Steve Jobs.
When we're dealing with clients or when we're dealing with prospective clients, they ask, so what's the name of your company? And then we say D for developer. People normally didn't get it straight, and it sounded a bit laughable. But then there was a reason behind that name. So we thought, okay, why not rebrand to Developer Technology?
We don't just leave it there, we engage the experts too.
You must always have your market in mind. TM Lewin wants to sell to people like you and I. Dolce & Gabbana wants to sell to designers, and they're ultra rich. It depends on who your market is.
Keeping startups posted on government policies and giving them the opportunity to engage in discussions on issues that affect them, all in the quest of empowering small businesses and making them globally competitive. The Joy Business Van is here to stay.
And the man from Joy Business who is driving that business van, Daryl Carl, joins me now in the studio. Daryl, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to you, Francis.
And thanks for joining us. Great job you're doing for these SMEs. But I need to ask, for those who may not follow this, why are we focusing on SMEs and startups?
Big deal, Francis. If we go to the UK, 50% of the economy is run by small businesses. And you know, UK has a very developed economy. Here in Ghana, we've got 90% of our businesses registered as SMEs, and we are not feeling the impact. And that means that something is not right. And so this program focuses on empowering our SMEs, giving them what they need, giving them the necessary exposure so that they can go and become big and become globally competitive. Just to give you an idea what SMEs are doing around the world, you can take a look at this infographic we have for you.
Okay, let's have it then.
Be the person who does not only have the facts, but knows what to make of them. Joy Business Knowledge, empowering.
Small and medium enterprises, SMEs, play a major role in most economies, particularly in developing countries. Formal SMEs contribute up to 45% of total employment and up to 33% of national income, GDP, in emerging economies. These numbers are significantly higher when informal SMEs are included. According to estimates, 600 million jobs will be needed in the next 15 years to absorb the growing global workforce, mainly in Asia and sub-Saharan Africa. In emerging markets, most formal jobs are with SMEs, which also create 4 out of 5 new positions. However, access to finance is a key constraint to SME growth. Without it, many SMEs languish and stagnate. SMEs are less likely to be able to secure bank loans than large firms. Instead, they rely on internal or personal funds credit to launch and initially run their enterprises. 50% of formal SMEs don't have access to formal credit. The financing gap is even larger when micro and informal enterprises are taken into account. Overall, approximately 70% of all MSMEs in emerging markets lack access to credit. While the gap varies considerably between regions, it's particularly wide in Africa and Asia. The current credit gap for formal SMEs is estimated to be 1.2 trillion US dollars. The total credit gap for both formal and informal SMEs is as high as 2.6 trillion US dollars. A World Bank Group study suggests there are between 365 to 445 million micro, small, and medium enterprises (MSMEs) in emerging markets. 25 to 30 million are formal SMEs, and 55 to 70 million are formal micro enterprises, and 285 to 345 million are informal enterprises. Moving informal SMEs into a formal sector can have considerable advantages for the SME. For example, better access to credit and government services and to the overall economy. For example, higher tax revenues, better regulations, also providing SMEs access to finance and finding solutions to unlock sources for capital is crucial to enable this potentially dynamic sector to grow and provide the needed jobs.
Joy Business Knowledge Empowering.
What sums up the picture of small and medium enterprises and the challenges that we have in the country today, and why it's even important to empower them in the country today? Daryl is still with me in the studio. Daryl, that's for the bigger picture and putting this matter in context.
Sure.
But I know that on a micro level, people have their own, stories and problems they're having in pushing their small businesses. What are they? You've been interacting with them.
Sure. The big one, access to finance, access to capital. The banks are not giving loans and the SMEs are not happy at all. We're also talking about issues of high cost of doing business here in Ghana, government policies. We're also looking at high tariffs, the utility tariffs. And this is a problem that the big companies are facing themselves. So imagine a small company facing the same problem as the big one. And so it's not really easy for them, especially when you want to break into the international market. People like the Mark Zuckerbergs of Facebook started small and they're making a mark all over the world. If you go to Nigeria, we have names like Ali Dangote, we've got Tony Elumelu. Here in Ghana, there are not so many big names, and so it tells you that there's quite a challenge here. But I've been engaging some SMEs. They've been sharing with me some of their experiences.
Has been a very challenging one. First of all, as you start, you need to keep standards for your product. You need to be known for a particular standard. When someone takes your drink, they know the difference. They can tell the difference. People can testify, recommend to others. So it's not been a smooth one with startup capital and all that. But
first thing, the major thing I would say is finding a team who buy into the vision, who see the bigger picture of what you're trying to do. That's the major challenge I've faced. The biggest challenge, finding a team who see the picture, the big picture. That is one major hurdle that even as you go, you experience more, you learn how to create better teams, but then that challenge still exists. Also, an obvious challenge is, the issue of funds. Okay, so how do you get funds to invest into your business, to grow your business, to invest into projects? Because some people might want you to pre-finance some project up to a certain point, and you will need funds for marketing and other things. So that was also another big challenge. Another major thing is, policies. Now, when I say policies, I mean governmental policies, because in Ghana, the policies which government has do not really foster or help young entrepreneurs to start their businesses and also to grow their businesses. So that is one example of that. I mean, you go to register a business at the RGD, Registered General Department, and it could take forever. I mean, when we started, we intended to register as an enterprise. That's what they call it, an enterprise. And even that took several months before we got our certificate. So that was another big challenge.
And I'm specifically happy about these. And the faces you see are not people who are in their 30s and 40s. These are young guys who are starting off life and want to make a difference, not apply for a job and get a job and get a salary at the end of the month, but they want to do something small themselves, employ people, and open up the space for business in Ghana today. Daryl, since we started this initiative, and it's been on radio for a while, what's been the policy response we've been getting to this?
Well, Francis, for the first time in God knows how long, we had government organizing an SME financing fair. That was just last month. It's the first ever government initiative. So it gives you an idea that gradually our minds or the government's attention is being drawn to what these SMEs are and the potential they have to turn our economies around. If you've been following international news, you'd realize that our commodities are not doing so well. Cocoa is not doing well on the international market. Oil price volatilities we are experiencing, and gold as well. So if we want to create jobs, these small businesses are the ones that would help create the jobs that we need. If we want to expand, grow our economy, we have to tend towards them. So in terms of policy, yes, we are seeing that government is paying so much attention to SMEs now. And if you talk about response, there's recognition out there for what we do. And like you said in your introduction, over the last 2 years, we've received 2 recognitions for what we are doing. In 2014, we got the award for the SME reportage at the SMEGA Awards. And then just recently, the Entrepreneurs Foundation gave us an award recognizing our support for small businesses in the country.
So clearly we are getting somewhere with this. The initiative is good, we are getting a good drive for it. But in terms of the reaction, credit is a big issue for these SMEs. For the financial institutions, have they changed their approach now? Are they now being more receptive to these SMEs?
It's a tough task because the banks wouldn't want to risk it, because when you come to them with a business idea, they look at, well, am I going to benefit from this one? I don't want to put my money in this, and I don't want to, risk it. And, it turns our mind to some other issues, because banks are concerned, if I give you my money, are you going to be able to manage it to give the desired results? Also makes us know that there are other challenges that small businesses have to deal with, financial management knowledge, which most of them don't have.
So clearly there's a lot more work we need to do in easing the minds of these financial institutions to have them embrace these SMEs and have them grow properly in Ghana. I'm just wondering, for the Joy Business Van, who's fueling it?
Well, we've been running 2 years solo, but tonight we've got support, and beginning tonight we've got support from Busy Internet Service Provider. They're giving us a van that we're going to be crisscrossing the country with, interacting with the businesses there. And tonight on Business Live, we'll be showcasing our first episode of the Joy Business Van on TV, and it's going to be online as well. And that's the new face of the Joy Business Van. That's why we're making so much noise about it tonight.
Okay, great. So if you're looking to see what's in this van, what we're bringing you from this van, this is just a sneak peek of what to expect at 5 p.m. today.
30-year-old Benjamin Esiam Amanfo is CEO of this startup.
I started making shoes 2 years ago after I met my boss, Samuel Anderson. He made good shoes for me to buy, and then I told him I wanted to work with him, and then he agreed to teach me, and then we started working together.
It was a tough decision to make.
Charlie decided to leave the pharmacy work and then do this one because I had the love for this one.
So young people doing amazing things in your own small way, just to grow the business from micro to a very big one, a multinational in some years to come. Don't miss this at 5 p.m. on Business Live here on the Joy News channel on Multi TV. Daryl Kwao, last question to you. In view of these stories you're seeing and people doing amazing things for themselves, you're a young man yourself. Are you tempted to also go into SMEs business? Okay, listen, that guy you watched over there was a young pharmacy assistant who decided to leave everything and follow his passion for shoes. So think about it, pharmacy assistant now, a shoemaker. Okay. You can't listen to or watch such stories and not be inspired to start something of your own. So I'm thinking that in a few years to come, I may just drop this and just be an entrepreneur. You're going to drop our van and go run your business. There's money out there, man. Okay, all right, we'll see. we'll see what happens between now and then in those few years, whether that will change his mind or not in helping the SMEs to grow. But thank you so much for coming today to share with us what this beautiful, innovative plan is coming from Joy Business. We'll go for a quick break at this point. When we come back, there's something happening in the West African sub-region I have to draw your attention to. Details after the break. Stay with us.